Bonjour. Hello and welcome to a new episode of So French. In this show, we give you everything about the twists and turns of French politics and an insight to all things French.
Every 2 weeks, we select the best, most interesting and fascinating of French news stories, all brought to you from our studio in the heart of Paris. My name is Stefan de Vries.
And my name is Sara
And this week we're enjoying a slice of foie gras or duck liver. Or are we for the holiday season? You better plan where you are celebrating this year's Christmas dinner with foie gras, because more and more countries and cities are now banning the production of this French delicacy.
And bonbon ou un sort, Stefan?
Trick or treat?
Trick or treating anything this weekend? Well, we'll tell you about how this very American tradition now also is getting its grip on France.
But first, it's the poorest region in France, Seine-Saint-Denis, a suburb just next to the north of Paris. It's also one of the most populated areas in the greater Paris region, home to 1.6 million people, many of them working class and immigrants. Also a region infamous for its underfunded public services, badly maintained housing and a lack of job opportunities. But now, as the French capital gears up for the 2024 Olympics in 5 years, the authorities are looking how to revitalize the area. Indeed, it will be the site of the Olympic Stadium, so a very important site for the Olympic Games. So the government this week announced a 23-point plan to make Seine-Saint-Denis a better place to live. So, Sarah, what's the plan? What's in it?
To begin, we must say it's not the first time anyone has tried or said that they were going to boost Seine-Saint-Denis. But this time it seems like there's a real effort put behind this plan. 23 points to make Seine-Saint-Denis, or to give Seine-Saint-Denis a boost, as I said. First of all, among them, a trial to make civil servants stay and work in Seine-Saint-Denis. And this is, I mean, it might sound a bit weird, but many consider that the French state has abandoned Seine-Saint-Denis in one sense, that it's sort of been left to its own devices. And this is a way of saying that it's important. It's an important part of France, and that, you know, we're investing. And when France is investing, it's investing in its civil servants.
Yes,
right?
of course, because many civil servants are leaving there, right? Like
exactly.
Teachers.
So generally, if you compare, for example, teachers in average leave after about 2 years in Seine-Saint-Denis, and that's compared to more than, I think, 7 years in many other regions of France. So there's a big difference there. So the plan is they put out an envelope of 10,000 euros for any civil servant who will stay in Seine-Saint-Denis for at least 5 years.
That's not bad. And why are they leaving, actually? Because maybe they should change that they want to stay.
Well, they're also going to boost the number of civil servants working. So maybe that's part of the problem as well, that you have not enough people working. And this is when it comes to, they're going to boost the number of police. They're also going to boost the number of judges, of other clerks in the justice system, and a way of, you know, trying to get things work a little bit smoother. But what has also happened, since Seine-Saint-Denis has this bad reputation, of course, because of all the issues. They're often quite unexperienced civil servants who then start their career in Seine-Saint-Denis, but as soon as they get a little bit more experience and a possibility to move, well, so they do. So this is a way of trying to make people stay and, you know, create and get a more experienced workforce in Seine-Saint-Denis.
Yeah, let's go there for a while and try to describe what kind of city it is, because we were there together last year for the 14 juillet, the 14th of July special edition. We went to Seine-Saint-Denis. Why did we go there, actually?
But at the time we went to visit the very famous Basilica of Saint-Denis.
Yeah, where all the kings of France and queens are buried. And now it is actually a nice city. If you walk around, it has a lot of old architecture. It's
Absolutely.
an old city. It's a big city, about 100,000.
Cathedral is beautiful, but the
Absolutely.
Basilica is beautiful.
And it's actually right next to Paris. So you would say this would make an excellent place to live in if you work in Paris and then live in Seine-Saint-Denis. But that's not really the case, is it?
It's not, and it hasn't been for a very, very long time. And we always hear that, now it's the time for Saint-Denis to develop, and, and there are a lot of interesting projects happening. You have a lot of very ambitious young people who really want to invest in the area and the neighborhood where they grow up. But there is also all these social issues that make it's so difficult, and you have criminality, of course, you have social issues, and you have housing issues, and just the fact that, unfortunately, often when people move up on the social ladder and they maybe get a job and it starts working a little bit better, they decide to leave. So we don't see these middle-class families then putting their children in the local school. So you create a more dynamic environment in the schools, for example. No, many of these families who live or have, more middle-class families in the area, they put their children in the private schools.
Yeah.
Or they leave the area altogether. So it's very complicated.
One of the things that struck me once when I was there, it's of course the Saint-Denis, where the Stade de France, the national stadium, is the biggest stadium in France. And around that stadium, they have built a lot of offices in the idea to create jobs in the area. But if you go there, I was once there at 8 o'clock in the morning, at 8:30, very early. And I had an appointment in one of those new offices. And at that time, so 8 o'clock in the morning, you saw all the white people coming with the subway or with the trains, coming out of the station. And at the same time, all the immigrants, they went into the station because they just cleaned, they finished their night shifts of cleaning the offices, and all the white people went in. And that's very striking. So, because, this whole area is pretty well done, you have nice areas in Seine-Saint-Denis, but it's not benefiting the local population. And of course there's really a big problem
and there has been hopes, exactly when they opened when they built the national football stadium, there was a hope that it was going to change the area and boost job opportunities and everything. It didn't really happen. We will see if this plan will actually lead to something better and more, because it's true that it's absolutely necessary for the whole Île-de-France, which is the region surrounding Paris, to be less segregated and of course more vital.
So, it's now November. That's exactly 14 years ago with the huge riots in that same area. A lot of money since then has been invested, but the conditions have not really improved. How did the locals react to the plan of the government?
It sounds like quite many are quite happy with the suggestions that have been made. It looks like it is in the right direction, and it has taken up real issues and real demands from the inhabitants themselves. And I've heard quite a lot of politicians from all different parties, also the opposition, saying that these are good ideas. These are, it's really something that we can work on together, except when it comes to one question maybe, and it's not a detail in the story, and that's when it comes to the money and the plan for the education system in Seine-Saint-Denis, because we know that this is a major issue. This is a problem. The schools are not functioning. The students, they don't reach the same level as other parts of France and even of the Île-de-France region.
But government is giving 20 million euros, right, to improve education.
They're giving 20 million euros for a particular reason, and that is because they have decided, and this was decided on previously, to half the number of students in the lower classes, for younger students, so that the classes were going to be much smaller, half as many students to be able, for the teachers to be able to really help these students. But 20 million euros in 10 years is about 2 million euros a year to refurnish and to just to set up a physical environment for these classes. And many are saying that's nothing. I mean, it's not going to even to put up a wall. It costs you easily 30,000 euros, so that is nothing. And that there is also a lack that the plan for the education, for how to make education work, is not as developed as it should be.
Will it change anything, or?
Hopefully it will change something. And I think, and it's a little bit sad to say, but I do think that the Olympic Games has really made the government boost, a little bit and it's a little bit more intensity in their ambitions for Saint-Denis. I mean, it was part of the reason why they wanted to put the main events for the Olympics in Seine-Saint-Denis was also to boost the region. But now you're also seeing that they're going to have to do something about that region to be able to actually show it off for the world. So. There is an emergency, and there's an urgency, and hopefully something that's going to come out of it. Yeah,
well, if you want to judge for yourself, the cathedral is beautiful, and maybe you can have a nice cup of coffee. It's the end of line 13. It's easy with the metro. That's Seine-Saint-Denis. Okay.
Vous écoutez So French.
You are listening to So French.
Now, for our regular food segment, Stefan, we do like that. Yeah. Let's cross the ocean and go to New York City, the Big Apple, because that's where the city council has declared war on France.
Oh, yeah. The French Navy is already setting sail to the USA because, well, what the New Yorkers have done, it's something. It's really unacceptable, actually. What have they done, Sarah?
Well, they passed a bill banning the sale of foie gras.
Oh my!
Not tomorrow. In a couple of years.
Okay, good.
Not in a couple of years, but the dish has long been considered a delicacy, not only in New York, of course, here in France and around the world as well. But New York being maybe the American culinary capital, I don't know what we should call it, but many very fancy restaurants in New York, at least. Caused quite a bit of a stir over there.
Yes, indeed, Sarah. And how much of a stir? Well, let's ask a real New York chef. We're talking now to Hugue Dufour on the phone. He's the chef of Wells Steakhouse in Queens, New York. And he uses foie gras quite a lot. He's on the line right now. Well, welcome, Hugue Dufour. With such a name, you almost had to become a chef.
Yeah. They call me Al Forno in Italian.
Hugue Forno in New York. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to So French. Yes, so this week, the New York City Council decided to ban foie gras. What was your first reaction when you learned that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very sad. I mean, it's sad. We have to understand that New York is the sole producer of foie gras in the entire country, which represent a very small fraction of all the production. These farmers rely on the New York market to exist and to be. So it's gonna probably mean the disappearance of foie gras, U.S. made, so it's pretty sad. We're thinking about people that are trying to elevate standard of production. They're a very small farm. We can think it's very bucolic. When you feed ducks, they're sitting on your lap. It feels like we're back 80 years, It's not like the big production that we see in France or that we can see also in Quebec, where I'm from.
Yeah. Do you use foie gras a lot in your kitchen?
I mean, I use it as much as I could, not that people here, they love it, but it's still like a small fraction of people that are educated to it. But it's still very dear to me, and I use it as much as I can.
So it's a secret pleasure in New York. What's one of the dishes on your menu right now?
Right now, I have a foie gras, a pan-seared foie gras with French toast, savory French toast. I have also a foie gras and smoked eel terrine that I serve currently.